Welcome in to 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Jake Chipper, filling in here for Chase Sr., who will be back tomorrow. On today's show, we got some Brandon Ingram trade rumors to get to, but before we get into those, I was scrolling through some of the NBA channels we have here at Chat Sports, checking out some numbers, and I saw the Heat report on a recent video got 237 likes. That's more than what we'd be getting here on 76ers Now, and I could not go for that. I hate the Heat. I hate everything about the Heat. And I always need to beat the Heat. So help us here beat the Heat. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Let's get more than that 237 likes that the Heat report got. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. Could the 76ers make a big-time trade for Brandon Ingram? According to some reports, Philly is one of multiple teams considered a potential suitor to trade for Ingram after the Pelicans might not be bringing Brandon Ingram back after his contract expires this upcoming season. A couple reports here to get into, so let's start with this one from Michael Scotto of HoopsHype saying, Pelicans forward Brandon Ingram is considered the most likely player to be traded by rival executives who spoke with HoopsHype. Those executives believe the fit with Ingram and Zion Williamson is not ideal on the court. With Ingram entering the final season of his contract at $36 million, he's been a trade candidate before, but he's definitely a prime trade candidate now. And then Mark Stein added on to these rumors a couple days later saying, there's a growing belief league-wide that the Pelicans will aggressively explore the trade market for Brandon Ingram before next season. A handful of Eastern Conference teams, including Philadelphia, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Orlando, have already been marked as potential trade suitors for Brandon Ingram. And look, when it comes to Brandon Ingram, little bit of a down year for Ingram in 2023-2024. Still put up decent numbers, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. 3-point number a little bit down compared to previous years. But when I think of Brandon Ingram's fit on the Sixers, for me, I would love the potential fit. Now, he did struggle in the postseason. I want to make this known, though. Ingram missed about the last month of the season leading up to the postseason with a knee injury. Came back for the Pelicans' last game of the season against the Lakers, then played in that first play-in game, also against the Lakers, really struggled. Was good in their second playoff game against the Kings, but then the playoffs started. Obviously, Pelicans got swept by the Thunder, and look, Ingram was just not good, whether it was health or whether it was Lou Dort, who was putting him in the torture chamber the entire series. Look, Ingram, 14 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting under 35% from the field and just 25% from three, but I wanted to show this as well because it's not like Ingram doesn't have previous playoff success. Back in the 2021-2022 season, the Pelicans, with no Zion, this was a season that Zion was out for the entire year, took on the Phoenix Suns in the first round, who were coming off that run to the NBA Finals. And look, Pelicans lost in 6, but Ingram was spectacular, right? 27 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. And the big number for me is he was hitting 40% of his threes, and that's going to be a big talking point here with Brandon Ingram moving forward. Because when you look at his shot profile, right, the number I really want to point out here, as you look at these numbers, look at that mid-range. This past season, he took 348 shots in the mid-range, far and away the majority of the shots he took. Next up was obviously the three-point, where he took a lot more catch and shoot than pull-up and was more effective on the catch and shoot. But he took a lot of shots as well in the paint outside of the restricted area. He was very good at the rim, shooting a career high 72% in the restricted area. But the majority of those field goal attempts, coming in the mid-range and in the paint outside of the restricted area. And that does clash a little bit with where Joel Embiid likes to dominate. So could be a potential not great fit there between those two. But I do think Ingram, he would be a third option on this team where he's really been a 1 or a 2 with the Pelicans, depending on if Zion is in or out of the lineup and where you consider CJ McCollum in that pecking order. The thing with Brandon Ingram, he's entering the final year of his deal at $36 million. Not going to be quite as expensive as if you were going to go after a player like, say, Paul George, say Jimmy Butler. But again, he's entering the final year of his deal. Now, he is eligible for a 4-year, up to $208 million extension. The Pelicans, it's already been reported, they do not want to pay him that. And if you're asking me, do I want to pay Brandon Ingram $50 million a year? I'd probably tell you no. But look, if you're going 1 year, see what the fit is like. He's not going to cost as much as some of these other trade targets like a KD, like a Jimmy, or if you go out and sign someone like Paul George for $50 million. Look, he's not going to cost as much. You can see what the fit is. But I'll ask you, would you like Brandon Ingram on the Sixers? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I think I would. I think I'd type my Y for yeses depending on what it would cost, and we'll get into that in a second here, but let me know in the comments Y for yes or N for no. Now, coming up, we're going to look. What could a BI trade look like? What could the Sixers have to give up? Could a third team possibly get involved? We'll get all into that here in just a moment. But first, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app, and it's the easiest and most exciting way to get on the action and watch your favorite sports and players. It's super, super simple. You just pick more or less on 2 or more players' projected stat totals and watch the winnings roll in. And right now, if you sign up on the app using our promo code CLNS or go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, you can get up to a $100 deposit match. And look, one of the reasons I personally love Prize Picks so much and I use it so much is they always have these specials and discounts and deals that they're offering for their users. And right now, Caitlin Clark, as you just saw, making her WNBA debut tomorrow night, Tuesday night for the Indiana Fever. 99% off. That's right. 99% off Prize Picks is offering on her projected point total. All Caitlin Clark has to do is score 1 point, and you can win money. Just pair that with another entry, and you can win big time. So win big money, withdraw your winnings with Prize Picks. Again, download the app today. Use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. So let's get back into it. What could a Brandon Ingram trade look like? And before we get into what I cooked up as a potential trade, I want you guys to keep this in mind. Per Sam Vecenie of The Athletic, the Sixers are seen as a team likely to trade that 16th overall pick they have this year in the draft. Look, Daryl Morey has talked about it. He's going to be super, super aggressive in this offseason. Whether he wants to use that pick or not, he definitely sees it as a trade piece that he can use to go after a superstar. So I would not expect the Sixers to hold on to that pick. I think they see it as something they can use in a trade like this one that I cooked up for Brandon Ingram. Now, this trade, it's sort of sets the foundation. Let's go through it. Sixers get Brandon Ingram from the Pelicans. Pelicans get Trae Young from the Hawks, who, by the way, the Hawks just landed the first overall pick in this year's draft. Absolutely insane. I think that changes a little bit of how they go, plan their team out moving forward. Apparently, Trae Young already sounds pretty expendable. So I have Trae Young going to the Pelicans, where I think him and Zion would be an electric fit. Now, for the Pelicans, I think you probably want to move off of CJ McCollum in this deal, and I'm sure that there'll be future moves down the line. For the Hawks, you get 2 first-round picks from the Sixers. Do they want this year's pick? Would they rather have future picks since they already have the first pick this year? Who knows exactly what they want to do. Regardless, I think it'd probably be 2 first-round picks. I have a sign-in trade with D'Anthony Melton. I struggled a little bit because I feel like the Hawks would probably want a little bit more for Trae Young. I considered the Pelicans sending Larry Nance to the Hawks, but I think Larry Nance is a great fit with the Pelicans. Look, it comes down to what are the Hawks going to want to do moving forward with that #1 overall pick? Probably going to pick Alexander Sarr at that center position. So how expendable really is Trae Young? What's his value? We will see. But I want to ask you guys, as a Sixers fan, from the Sixers perspective, would you accept this trade? Look, all you're giving up, 2 picks, which, how important are picks to you right now, really? And D'Anthony Melton, who, look, you're probably not going to bring back anyway, so you sign and trade him that he goes to the Hawks, could be a good fit with DeJounte Murray. Let me know A for accept or D for decline. If it's me, I'm accepting this trade all day long. We talked about some of Brandon Ingram's deficiencies as a player and where he likes to operate. I understand he does like to operate in the mid-range a lot, but as I was saying, he's been a 1 or a 2 option the past 5 or so years that he's been in New Orleans. I think being that third option is kind of the perfect role for him, where he can kind of get back to more corner threes, because the past couple of years, he really has not been taking a lot of corner threes as he did his first year in New Orleans. He was taking a lot of them, and he was hitting them. This year, did not take very many corner threes. Look, I really believe that Brandon Ingram could be a difference maker for Philly as that #3 option compared to somebody like Tobias Harris, who, bye-bye, so long, he's out of here. Brandon Ingram can come in. He can create his own shot, which is huge, because the Sixers really do not have guys that could create their own shots, especially down the stretch with Embiid on one leg and Tyrese Maxey trying to figure it out. But really having zero help. Ingram can score from all three levels. He got to the rim at a career high this season. Look, if you got to give up 2 first-round picks, got to give up DeAnthony Melton, maybe you got to give up a Paul Reed. It is what it is. I would go out and make that trade to acquire Brandon Ingram. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Really appreciate everyone tuning in and watching today's video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Make sure you subscribe because we're going to have videos coming all off-season long. Obviously, a very important off-season for the Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to have draft rumors, free agency, trades, everything you need to know in this offseason leading up to the start of next season. So make sure you subscribe. And as always, go Sixers.